Hello, this is Matt Thompson, and I'm here with a long overdue update on the Jeff Winehouse case for all my friends that are interested in this case, and even some of you may not have ever heard of it. But this is a very, very important case, I believe, because it goes to our constitutional rights, our First Amendment rights, and other constitutional rights that have been flagrantly violated here by officials in the Missouri State Highway Patrol and the Missouri Attorney General's office. Even the Supreme Court of Missouri is now involved in covering up what went on here. So I think it's important to take a look at it. But the short answer, the short update is that 3 days before Christmas this winter, uh, Jeff Winehouse's final habeas petition was dismissed without cause, without grounds, and without hearing by the Supreme Court of Missouri. The habeas petition was led by Sean O'Brien. So here's a picture of Sean O'Brien, and he's a professor at the University of Missouri Law School, Kansas City, one of the most successful attorneys in the United States in overturning wrongful convictions. So he knows what he's doing in terms of filing these habeas petitions to the Supreme Court. Keep in mind, this ruling was the culmination of a 6 year process of habeas corpus in which a very detailed case had been prepared to the circuit court where you're supposed to file the habeas case. And that case was denied without cause, without reason. Suddenly, in the middle of the ongoing arguments from either side that were being submitted, the judge just denied it 3 days before the election without grounds. Uh, an extensive effort was made by Amy Bartholow to appeal that decision on the basis, there was never a hearing, there was never any grounds, and it went to the appeals court. And this appeal was well over 300 pages long, quite detailed, the entire case, laying out all the details of where Jeff was and pictures and affidavits and everything in there. And this 350 page or whatever it was appeal was dismissed without cause, without hearing, without grounds, within 30 minutes of receiving it. So it then went to the Supreme Court of Missouri, saying that the Jeff's writ of habeas has been suspended here. He's not been granted a hearing in any of these cases. And 3 days before Christmas, the Supreme Court comes back with this document right here. It says, now at this day, on consideration of the petition for a writ of habeas corpus herein to the said respondent, it is ordered by the court here that said petition be, and the same is hereby denied. Robin J. not participating. Let's look at the Supreme Court judges here. In Missouri, there's 7 judges. You can see them listed here. That's Judge Mary Russell right in the middle, Judge Brent Powell, Judge Zell Fisher, Judge Robin Ransom, Judge Paul Wilson, Kelly Broniak, and Ginger Gooch. And you noticed on that the document where his habeas was denied without grounds that Ransom J. had recused herself and was not participating in that. That's Robin Ransom. You can see her standing there second from the left. And she did the right thing in recusing herself from that. But the reason that she did it was because she was the judge who was listed on the appeal that was denied within 30 minutes of receiving it. So as far as I'm concerned, all 7 justices of the Missouri Supreme Court are guilty of a crime of denying Jeff habeas corpus. They don't have to approve, they don't have to grant him habeas corpus, but they have to hear it. If they're going to dismiss it, they have to have grounds. They have basically denied him the right to habeas corpus, suspended his right to habeas corpus. And here we can see the petition for habeas corpus that was presented to the Missouri Supreme Court. Again, I'm pretty sure that the officers of the court never got a chance to read this thing. But it's very detailed, multiple witnesses, expert witnesses testifying to the mental stability of Sergeant Folsom all the internal documents that were found, discussing the case, all of the cover-ups, quite detailed with photos of everything involved in the case. And, this is only part of it here. Let's see, we got another one, more stuff here, suggestions in support of the case. Again, very, very detailed. Took some of the best lawyers in the United States, over 3 years to prepare this thing, and it's just dismissed, without ever looking at it, without looking at the grounds or the quite detailed case. Again, there should have been a hearing. There should have been, contesting arguments between sides on it, and it should have been an open public hearing. And, even if they were going to dismiss it and say it wasn't filed right, they would have to have grounds. There was never any grounds given. And then if we look back at this document that came out from the Supreme Court when they dismissed this case without cause or grounds, you notice that it's not signed by any of the justices of the Supreme Court, signed by Betsy Ledgerwood, the clerk of the court, along with her deputy. And here we have a Constitution of the state of Missouri. And, one of the most striking things to me about the Constitution of the state of Missouri is the Bill of Rights is right up front in center. Article 1, it starts out with the Bill of Rights. That's how important these individual rights were to the founders of the state of Missouri. It's not in an amendment like it is in the federal Constitution. It's right up front. The Constitution says, "We, the people of Missouri, with profound reverence to the supreme ruler of the universe and grateful for his goodness, do establish this Constitution for the better government of the state." And it gets right into the Bill of Rights. It's all about natural rights, individual rights. Source of political power is the people, that all political power is vested in and derived from the people, that all government of right originates from the people. That their only purpose is to protect the rights and liberties of the people, promotion of the general welfare, natural rights of persons, and equality under the law. And then within these Bill of Rights, we get to Section 12. This is what I was talking about. It's even stronger in the Missouri Constitution than it is in the federal Constitution, that the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall never be suspended. Shall never be suspended. Well, when you dismiss it without granting a hearing, a public hearing, or even grounds, dismissing it without grounds, you're suspending the right of habeas corpus to people you don't like. And that's precisely what they did. 6 years of work lawyers put into it, never even looked at by the judicial system. So here's a federal statute that, to me, obviously relates to what's going on here. Many of my friends are familiar with it, but some of you may not have ever heard it. It's from Title 18, Section 242, deprivation of rights under color of law in the federal statute. The law says whoever, under color of any law, statute, ordinance, regulation, or custom, willfully subjects any person in any state, territory, commonwealth, possession, or district to the deprivation of any rights, privileges, or immunities secured or protected by the Constitution or laws of the United States, or shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 1 year. So I know you might say, well, Matt, that's a little bit crazy to think that the justices of the Supreme Court of Missouri are going to be charged with violating a federal law, deprivation of rights under color of law. And I agree with you. They're not. Of course, they're not. But I'd like to ask you a question. Why not? Why wouldn't they be? Because if you read the statute, the statute is not written for people like me. It's written for government officials, isn't it? It says whoever, under color of any law, statute, ordinance, whoever, whatever official violates the constitutional rights, which do include habeas corpus, that they are committing a felony. So now I want to talk a little bit about why all this happened, why Jeff Winehouse was shot and subsequently convicted for assaulting an officer that was never assaulted. And when I first heard about this case, a friend of mine, I think it was maybe 2017, somewhere back in there, a friend of mine named Kelly Stewart said I should look into this case because it really is a First Amendment case. And that's when I first went to visit Jeff and started talking to him on the phone. And the more I learned about this case, the more appalled I was. And indeed, it is a First Amendment case. First Amendment to the Constitution says Congress shall make no law respecting establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people to peaceably assemble and petition their government for grievances. The Missouri Constitution is even more clear. If you take a look at Article 1, Section 8 of the Missouri Constitution, freedom of speech, says that no law shall be passed impairing the freedom of speech, no matter by what means communicated, YouTube, pamphlets, journals, newspapers, that every person shall be free to say, write, or publish, or otherwise communicate whatever he will on any subject. And, you say, well, I'm just making that up, that this happened to Jeff because he was writing bulletins criticizing the government. And, I'm not making it up. In fact, we have documentation. And what I'd like to show you here is a deposition of Henry Folsom, the officer that shot Jeff. This is in a case of Doc Nash, which was overturned. His conviction was vacated in the Supreme Court of Missouri a few years ago because they said that Sergeant Folsom had fabricated evidence. And so now there's ongoing litigation regarding that. And Doc Nash has since passed away, but he was imprisoned wrongfully convicted with the help of Sergeant Folsom, who fabricated evidence against him. And this is a deposition in that case of Sergeant, in the Nash case, where they were asking Sergeant Folsom about the Winehouse case. Question: 7 days before. Answer by Folsom: I shot Mr. Winehouse September 11, 2012. Question: and why did you object to going and seeing Mr. Winehouse? I didn't object to seeing him. I was assigned to go see Mr. Winehouse and to handle an issue that was normally outside of my area and to handle an issue that wasn't criminal. But they wanted me to still contact him and do something about it when they knew it wasn't criminal. And what did they want you to handle with respect to Mr. Winehouse? Answer: they wanted me to make him stop making YouTube videos that talked about the patrol staff in a bad way. So he was critical, among other things, the highway patrol. Answer: on YouTube. Who asked you to do that? The captain and the patrol staff. So did you say that's outside my normal duties? I did, but they didn't care. They told me to do what they told me to do. What did they tell you to do other than make him stop? That I was going to go over there and talk to him and have a discussion with him about it. And I talked to Ted Bruce about it. He said that what the guy was doing was not illegal. So there you have it. Sergeant Folsom has testified under oath that this entire episode with Jeff Winehouse, he had never done anything illegal. When they went to the house and stole his computers and issued a warrant for his arrest, they knew he had done nothing illegal. And then he ended up shooting him in the head and the chest. Was this to stop him from publishing YouTube videos? I mean, it worked, didn't it? And the thing about this is, you say, well, Sergeant Folsom may have been lying about this because he was cornered in the deposition. And he certainly might have been. I mean, I'll show you some things in a minute about the original case where he certainly lied under oath in Jeff's original conviction. And he's even accused by the department of departing from the truth, they said, and in internal investigation. So, yeah, he might have been lying under oath here. But you see, if you're the Missouri government, if you're the Attorney General, the people in charge of the Highway Patrol, the Department of Justice in Missouri, I mean, you can't ignore this, can you? But because there's only two possibilities. Folsom is lying under oath. That's perjury. You have to charge him with perjury. And if he's not lying, that means that authorities within the Missouri state government are silencing people that criticize them. You know, either way, it requires action on the part of the government to stop this immediately. I mean, we can't have officers being ordered to silence dissent in the United States of America. So, as Sergeant Folsom clearly stated in his deposition in the Nash case, this whole action against Jeff Winehouse by the Highway Patrol and authorities began because they wished to silence him. They wanted to stop him from making YouTube videos and publishing bulletins. And on August 22nd, of 2012, they conducted a raid on his house. And then they took his computers. Clearly, at the time that he took those computers, he knew that Jeff had done nothing illegal. And then they set up what they called a ruse on September the 11th, 2012. This is their testimony, their word that they used, a ruse that they were going to give Jeff's computers back to invite him to this gas station in the middle of nowhere, or it was close to Jeff's house, but it was a very, not a high traffic area. They chose it because they thought there would be no people there. And so they invited him into this basically an ambush, and they shot him in the head. Sergeant Folsom shot him 4 times in the head. And subsequently, Jeff was in a coma for 18 days in the hospital. He was in the hospital for about a month. And then he was out of the hospital living with his brother for about 3 weeks before they ever arrested him. They had no officers in the hospital to make sure that he wouldn't engage in any of this violent activity they said he was going to do. They say that he attempted to assault Sergeant Folsom. They convicted him of that. But yet, in the days following this incident, there wasn't even a cop by his bedside. He was free. They knew he was harmless, that he wasn't going to hurt anyone after the incident. And I think the reason that all these habeas cases have been denied without due process is just more cover up of what his entire conviction was, just a cover up of a wrongful shooting that was done because Sergeant Folsom had a vendetta against Jeff Winehouse. The habeas cases were dismissed without due process because they do not want for this information that's in the habeas case to be public information, because it clearly lays out the fact in there that the only reason that Jeff was convicted of assaulting Sergeant Folsom, who was never assaulted, was because the prosecution cheated. They withheld key evidence in the case, including the fact that Sergeant Folsom failed a drug test on the day of the shooting because he was on these psychotropic drugs to treat post-traumatic stress disorder. That an internal inquiry into Sergeant Folsom's activity in the patrol revealed that he departed from the truth, intimidated subordinates, and was very volatile and moody. So they knew. And this whole thing has been covered up. And the denial of proper due process on Jeff's habeas petitions just appears to me to be more and more cover up. But the truth is a pernicious thing. And, the truth must come out in this case. I don't know how. I don't know when. Maybe it goes to the Supreme Court of the United States. Maybe, somebody in the Judicial Committee in the Missouri State Legislature will start to take a look at what happened here. But, we uh, freedom-loving people can't allow this to stand. I mean, this is making a mockery of the Missouri Constitution, which was enshrined mainly to protect individual rights. And so, I hope someone in Jeff City will take action to remedy the thing, take a careful look at what's going on here. The intimidation of witnesses, falsification of testimony, putting a known liar on the stand, putting someone that has psychiatric problems on the stand, covering up information, not allowing due process, not allowing proper habeas corpus to be considered. So this is an important case, and I hope the people in the Missouri State Legislature will take a look at it. I hope we'll get some reform in the Missouri government, stop these cover-ups, start protecting individual rights, start realizing that your job is to protect the rights and liberties of the people. It is not to protect the agencies. The agencies only exist to protect the individual rights of the people, and that's your job down there at Jeff City. And we need to get some answers here. This has got to be remedied. This is Matt Thompson. Thank you.